everyone, welcome. You're watching Startup Wednesday. 2015 was indeed a blockbuster year for Indian startups. While some of them made headlines for their success and massive funding, not so much the case for others. However, it was indeed a great year for Indian startups, and that's what we're looking at on the show today, some of the startup trends that made headlines this year. Our top story today: with pollution and traffic concerns on the rise, shuttle services in cities like Delhi, Gurgaon and Bangalore are being described as much needed moves. But there's a question mark on their future, with some states taking them off the roads, saying that they are not in compliance with their laws. Here's a report.
A city where public safety often makes headlines for the wrong reasons, where public transport is a big challenge, especially for its women. But Gurgaon now has what many are calling a welcome change. A women's only bus service, ZipGo, inaugurated by Gurgaon Police Commissioner a fortnight ago, one of the new shuttle service startups hoping to transform commuting in India.
It's an all-women's cab, so I feel much safer when I'm sitting next to women instead of any other stranger.
Founded by 4 friends who had worked with other startups like Tiny Owl and Ola, they say public transport for women is in desperate need for change.
The average cost of a taxi about 250-300 rupees. So not everybody can afford it, at least not for the daily commute. Especially for the women's service, I think it is definitely somewhat challenging for women to travel, and especially in public transport.
But will such services last? Bus aggregator Shuttle, for example, which was running buses on 15 routes in the National Capital Region and clocking 13,000 to 15,000 rides every day, along with Ola Shuttle, is now in trouble. Ola and Shuttle's current license doesn't allow for intra-city travel with multiple stop and pickup points within city limits. As a result, the Regional Transport Authority, or RTA, in Gurgaon has stopped their services in the city as they don't fall in the ambit of Haryana Contract Carriage Act. Earlier last week, ZipGo too faced similar rough weather in Bengaluru.
We have checked the documents and they have been challaned for the permits, and those who don't have the documents, a few of the vehicles have been impounded also.
Industry body NASSCOM says governments are playing catch-up with these new businesses. We are talking to a few state governments that are also trying to speed up and ease the doing of business by creating startup-friendly policies. Another example of the urgent need for business-friendly rules in India is to be a real startup nation. With Simarpreet Kaur and Abhishek Singh, Cyrus John, NDTV.
Another popular trend seen this year was the Ghar Wapsi of Silicon Valley employees. Many of these Indians who had settled overseas in search of better job opportunities returned back home after seeing the booming startup space. In their words, India is now smelling like Silicon Valley.
An IIT Kanpur graduate, Tanmay was working with Hindustan Unilever as a production manager in one of its soap factories for over 3 years. He moved to the US in 2006, saying he knew he was cut out for better things. With an MBA from Stanford under his belt, he went on to work for Playdom Inc., a gaming startup there. But after having spent almost 9 years working in the Valley, the buzzing startup space back home caught his eye.
I had spent almost 9 years in the Valley, and I was contemplating on what next, what is the next new thing to do. And I used to follow all the India story, the startup growth story, and some of my very close friends were actually doing those things. So I was always sort of in touch with what was happening, and it was very exciting.
Tanmay decided to look for a job in India, to be closer to his family and hoping to cash in on opportunities on offer in the country. That's when Tanmay got in touch with Dipinder Goyal, the man behind Zomato. He says India is now smelling like Silicon Valley.
People used to usually find things here as very bucketed, and you're just sort of siloed into things, and that for very smart people that was not very attractive. So I think with the coming of startups, I think that is getting disrupted.
Tanmay now heads the online ordering team at Zomato, hoping to put his Valley experience to best use. And he isn't alone. IT Roorkee graduate Sachin had been hopping startups every couple of years in the Valley, hoping to learn something new every time. With over 14 years of Valley experience under his belt, and his career took a different route.
About 4 years ago, when on a serendipity coffee shop, basically me and Mohit met, And I was thinking about moving into a B2C company. I was talking to a few of the startups in the Valley, and Mohit said, and me and Mohit go back a lot of time. So Mohit said, why don't you come and work with InMobi? And we are looking at expanding our office in San Francisco. So why don't you come and have a chat with us and see what we can do? And here I am.
He initially joined the mobile advertising platform in Mobi's office in the Valley, and later, when given the opportunity to work out of Bangalore, Sachin says the decision wasn't too hard. He now is a Senior Vice President Technology at InMobi in Bangalore.
If you look at the people I work with, the people, the talent around you, the energy, the zeal, I don't see any difference. And what I find is that the whole ecosystem in India, in Bangalore specifically, is growing through leaps and bounds of change. And I think this is very good for the Indian industry, and that's why moving from there to here, if you ask me from people perspective, absolutely, I don't think there was any change. Talent perspective, there was no change. Complexity of the problems and the technology we are solving for, or the solutions we are building for which is applicable to the rest of the world, I don't see any difference between the two places.
Many say India is now the land of opportunities, and the country's top talent is now open to returning home for better options here. So it's a reverse brain drain on the cards. A recruit at a senior level can now earn anywhere between $4 to $6 million. Several vice president positions and top technical positions such as chief technology officers among them.
All of these folks come back with that cross-cultural knowledge, and at the same time, technically also they're able to take us to the next level. So it's partly the people skills that they come with, partly the technical skills, and they have the right attitude towards growth, which is really what we are looking at.
And expats are making a beeline for India. Across sectors, their numbers are on the rise. As per HR services from Randstad India, the number of expats being hired in niche positions is going up each year, with the figure for 2015 so far showing 30,000 to 35,000 of them working here. This number is set to increase by around 10 to 15% each year as Indian economy starts reviving and startups buzzing.
So this year, your local Kirana store became tech-savvy, yet another startup trend that caught everyone's eye. Hyper-local revolution was a big hit. In our fast-paced and demanding lives, errands can often be a hassle. Long hours at work and traffic nightmares in our cities have people turning to startups for the run to the local grocery store. You can now have groceries delivered to your door at the click of a button, and proof of this rising popularity is the $6 crore raised by online grocery stores since their inception. Grofers, an online grocery startup co-founded by ex-Zomato employees Albinder Dhinsa and Saurabh Kumar in January 2014, and manages over 30,000 deliveries every single day.
We were making it easier for you to connect to the local store with a wider variety of local stores, and that turned into extra revenue for these guys. We actually encourage them to create stores that are dedicated only to selling online, because it helps improve the throughput.
ग्रोफर से जुड़ने के बाद तो काफ़ी इम्प्रूव होएगा।
कितना इम्प्रूव हुआ?
सेल में 30% बढ़ाएगा।
There are over 12 million Kirana stores in the country, and according to reports, less than 2% of them are involved with e-retailing. Some Kirana shops working in collaboration with e-retail stores show a rise in their turnovers, yet many have a different story to tell.
Askme.com वाला, बिग बास्केट वाला, ग्रोफर्स वाला सब आए मेरे पास, ऐसी बात नहीं है, लेकिन पॉसिबल नहीं ना। अगर मेरा 9 से 11% का मार्जिन है, मैं उनको 4 या 5% दे देता हूँ। मैंने वैट देना है, मैंने टैक्स देना है, मैंने इनकम टैक्स देना है, मैंने एडवांस टैक्स देना है, मैं लड़कों की सैलरी देनी है।
Whether they choose to work together or not, online grocery stores are here to stay. Retail consultancy firm Technopack estimates the online grocery business to grow at a rate of 25 to 30% every year in major cities across India, and this is the very market entrepreneurs are hoping to tap. With Fahad Talha, Simarpreet Sembhi and Rashmi Maan, Anusya Mathur for NDTV. It's time for us now to slip into a short break, but you don't go anywhere. There's lots more on the other side.